Hello, and it's time for more peer tutoring tips and tricks. This is the last in the series. Just as a general recap, the 6 things that I do in a session with a peer tutoring session with a student is 1, getting to know the student, 2, mind my body language, 3, positive acknowledgement, 4, explain it, show it, coach it, 5, the student tries it, does it, and explains it, and 6, end the session with a plan. This one is part 6, the last in the series, in the session with a plan. So what I mean by this is it's important to keep the student moving forward in his or her studies. So often we get students that are either coming straight from high school or haven't been in school for a while, and they don't know how to study. Like they don't know how to keep studying and keep fine-tuning their skills and getting better. And so by the time they take the test, they know what they're talking about. It's very confusing once you first start taking college classes because you're on your own. You're not being spoon-fed the information as you are in high school. So it's important to keep the student moving forward. So the thing that you can do as a peer tutor is end every session with a plan that you and the student agree upon that you guys are both going to go home and do before the next session and have it ready for the next session. So one is you end the session with a goal for the student to accomplish before the next session. And so the second one would obviously be ending the session also with a goal for you, the tutor, to prepare for before the next session. So the first part of this is the ending the session with a goal for the student to accomplish before the next session. Now this can be practice problems if you guys were doing like math problems out of a book or chemistry problems out of a book. You know, you'd be like, oh, okay, so go home and before we meet again, do practice problems 1 through 10. You know, pick problems that are relevant to what they were just studying, that you were just tutoring them on, because now they need to go home and practice. Tutoring is not the end to learning something. Tutoring is the beginning to learning something. At the very latest, the middle to learning something, but the end to learning something is to go home and practice it after you've seen your tutor. So give the student, you know, pick some practice problems out of the book that you were doing that is relevant to what you guys were just doing so they can practice the exact same thing. Or you could suggest the student go home and watch a tutorial video that you're familiar with, something from YouTube, or Khan Academy has really good videos. If you choose something from YouTube, if it's in science, might I suggest Ninja Nerd Science channel? They are really good with anatomy, physiology, biology, and all the biological sciences. And then you can find tutorial videos that you like off of YouTube anywhere. Or you could send the student home, you know, okay, so our plan for action before your next class is to study for that test you have coming up. You know, and make a plan with the student on what exactly they're going to study what exactly they're going to study to prepare for that next test. They need to have a plan of action of what exactly they're going to go over before the next session. Now the other part of this is you have to end the session with a goal for yourself, the tutor, to do before the next session. Now this doesn't I know we don't get paid outside of our tutor hours, so this doesn't have to be something that takes up a lot of your time, but just while you're there in the tutoring session, look at the student syllabus that's provided for you in the student folder to prepare for that next session. Look and see what they're getting ready to cover in their next class. And if they're getting ready to cover something in their next class that you don't remember, or you're not familiar with, or you just haven't done in a long time, maybe that should be a cue for you to just go home and just freshen up on that subject just really quickly. Just to remind yourself how to do those problems, or remind yourself mitosis and meiosis, or whatever it is the student's going to study in their next class. Also, you want to you might want to get home and you might want to look up online for a practice worksheet for the problems that your student just did in that session, so they have some more practice problems to study before they get tested on it. So it's up to you, but there should be something. You should use the student syllabus to see what's coming up in their next class and just find some plan of action for both you and the student, something that you are going to do, set a goal for what you're going to look at, go over the next session. That will keep things moving along, and that will keep the student moving forward with their studies and getting better and better instead of becoming stagnant and bored with the tutoring session. So thanks a lot. That's the end of this series for peer tutoring tips and tricks. You can check out more of my YouTube tutorials at channel srusan2 St. Louis Community College.